And welcome to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia here from Eau Gallie Commodores Stadium. We have a great one on our hands tonight, Terry. We have the Rockledge Raiders traveling over to Eau Gallie. We have both teams with an 0-1 record. So who's needs this win more, Terry?
I think both teams need to win, but I think it's more so Eau Gallie because they won 12 games last year, so this will definitely be a true test for them because they do not want to go down 0-2 because if they do that, they have a tough road ahead of them. I don't know what the expectations were for Rockledge coming in, but the expectations were definitely high for Eau Gallie because they only lost 2 games last year.
Well, both teams, as I mentioned, losing a week ago. Rockledge in the backyard brawl against the Vera Hawks. What a game that was. A 1-point victory for the Hawks, but it all came down to the end of the fourth quarter. It was a 2-point conversion that really gave them the lead, 22-21, and the defense was able to hold. Talking to Coach Holmes, he said that loss was very devastating, but he knows that this team is really destined for greatness, and he told both of us, Terry, that this team has a lot of youth, and they're going to be able to grow up fast and play with a lot of confidence, here real quickly.
Yeah, not only did he say that this team had a lot of youth, but this team also has a lot of talent. There's a couple players on this team that are getting recruited by some D1 schools. So he's expecting them to step up, in particular in this game, because it's definitely going to be a tough game. I don't know how the weather is going to hold up. We're hoping that the weather holds up, but it's raining in Central Brevard, so it's a little southern down here. So we'll see if the rain will hold up or not.
This should be a dandy that we have tonight, and it is a dear special game to me, Terry. A little extra birthday treat for me.
Happy birthday, too, by the way.
Yesterday was my birthday. Now I have both of the schools that I attended, Rockledge and Eau Gallie, playing each other. So a very, very special game to me. And
so I guess the question is, who are you going for?
I plead the fifth, Terry. I cannot go for either side. And it looks like on the field we are already going to delay the game. So there's lightning in the area, and if you know anything about high school sports, lightning in the area is a cause for delay. So, Terry, We're not going to start this game right at 7, but it will start eventually. So everybody stay tuned in because we will have a kickoff before too long. We hope that all of these players are able to make this game happen because both teams are really ready to play.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I just got the PA announcer just made the announcement for the fans to go ahead and start getting out of here, too, because of lightning. They'll probably go underneath the bleachers or what have you. But, yeah, this is unfortunate, but this is Florida. This is, we get this all the time. So I know both teams are excited because they don't want to go 0-2. And so they're trying to get this game over with. Eau Gallie's trying to protect home field. And Rockledge is trying to establish themselves. So this is definitely going to be a great game when it starts.
Well, if you aren't able to tune or not wanting to tune in, I should say, to this one because we have a delay, Melbourne and Merritt Island is going to be a dandy as well. J.C. Meyer-Holtz and Zach Clark of the Friday Night Locker Room Space Coast Daily team are over at Merritt Island broadcasting that one. A week ago, we almost saw the upset of the county, Terry. Merritt Island fell, but in double overtime to the Cocoa Tigers, who are the 3-time back-to-back-to-back defending state champions. So really, Merritt Island is trying to solidify themselves as a contender, not just across that, I guess you could say, North Brevard,
right,
but around the entire county, that they are the one of the teams to beat. And on the plus side, you can see Melbourne is on the rise and wants to earn some respect. A week ago, they beat Cocoa Beach 58-7.
That's a lot of points.
A dominant performance. And I have to say, I looked at Cocoa Beach team this off season, and Ted Kimmy and their program, they do a very good job over there as well. Last year they went 4-6, but they only lost 5 of those games by a score or less. So that tells a lot about a team, and for Melbourne to dominate them the way they did, that's a big statement.
Yeah, I think everyone in the county has gotten better, and everyone wants to prove that they're the top dog. So it's going to be interesting later in the year to see which team is actually going to come out on top here in Brevard, because there's a lot of talent in Brevard. So it's going to be exciting. This is an exciting time. I know it's early in the football season, but this is where you make your name early in the season. If you set the tone early, so folks that's going to be playing against you, they're going to expect to get the best from you every game.
So as we have this delay right now, we will be waiting for a word about how long the delay will be. But while we continue to wait, we're going to talk about some more high school games going around the county that is really an interesting matchup. And I think it's Heritage and Seminole. Heritage a week ago went to Titusville and won that game in overtime. A really great win for a Heritage team that is trying to build off of what they've done over the past couple of years. And it looks like we have just gotten word that it's going to be a 30-minute delay for the Lightning. However, we don't see any rain in sight. So if that lightning goes away and we don't have rain, it's blow the whistle and spot the ball, Terry.
Yeah, but I think it's standard protocol. I did see some lightning when I was out here walking the field, you and I. And I just had a funny feeling that they were going to stop the game. I mean, rightfully so, because, safety is paramount, obviously. But, yeah, I think it is a minimum of 30 minutes regardless, at the moment that you see lightning. So I understand that.
Well, this one fares to be a dandy when it starts. Rockledge in the white tonight. Eau Gallie in their flashy red. I have to say, those are some sweet uniforms that Eau Gallie is rocking tonight. Rockledge is 0-1, Eau Gallie 0-1. If you tuned in a week ago, Terry and myself were down in Vero Beach, and that was a crazy game, Terry, with Eau Gallie's quarterback getting out, Vero Beach's quarterback getting out, and it just turned into a run the ball down your throat fest.
Yeah, it definitely was. And then you could tell that both teams wasn't familiar with their second-string quarterback, rightfully so, right? You have two good quarterbacks that you expect to play in the entire game, and both of them go out, like you mentioned before. So they had to adjust on the fly, both teams. Unfortunately for Eau Gallie, I think Vero Beach was just a little bit stronger in certain areas, and so they were able to capitalize a little bit more.
Well, you mentioned that a revenge game was on the mind of Vero Beach, and it had been on their mind for about a year due to the victory by Eau Gallie on this field a year ago over the Vero Beach Indians. So it wasn't a surprise that Vero Beach was coming out with a little bit of vengeance and wanting to win that game, and they did. They won it 41-31. But next week we will see another Brevard foe head down to Vero Beach and Cocoa. I think that's going to be a great game, and I think both teams, especially Cocoa, having just kind of squeaked by Merritt Island, they probably will want that victory bad.
Oh, yeah. So when I mentioned before last week, when some of the fans and even the police officers were saying, hey, we want that get back from Eau Gallie, in that same breath, they said, we want your top dog in Cocoa. We want to run Brevard. That's what they told me.
Wow.
And so it's a tall task, but, on any given Friday, right? And so these teams are excited to play these teams up here in Brevard, because one of the gripes for Vero Beach is that because they're so good, a lot of the local teams that are around them didn't want to play them because they were just that good. So for them to have the opportunity to play against talented players in the county of just above you, that makes it even better. So they'll have their wish. They're already taking care of one of the Brevard County teams in Eau Gallie. So if they can beat the back-to-back champions next week, that's going to say a lot for Vero Beach.
It will say a lot. And I have to say that Cocoa coming out and not really looking too clean against Bradford in that kickoff classic kind of gave a hint that Merritt Island might have a shot in that game. And Cocoa, they have a new quarterback. They have a new system, a new nucleus in there. for the ones who've watched Cocoa over the past couple years, it's not Brady Hart throwing it to Javen Boggs anymore. Javen Boggs has actually moved on and will be a starter this weekend for your Seminoles.
That's right.
So that'll be exciting. But it's new faces all around that Cocoa offense. The defense is always going to be stout. You know, when you play a Cocoa team, that defense is going to be aggressive. They're going to be stout. But in that game next week, is Champ Smith and the offense going to be dialed in enough to put points up on really a team that you're going to have a track meet with in Vero Beach?
Yeah, and it's crazy because both teams' quarterback's name is Champ, right?
Yep.
So, but there's only going to be one Champ that week. And so it's definitely going to be great. You mentioned before the quarterback played for Cocoa. He's a young player, so you got to give him time. You know, there's a lot of expectations, rightfully so, because Cocoa is the state champion. They won 3 years in a row. So people are expecting no drop-off. You know, but you got to realize, like we talked about before, who you replace. You've lost a lot of key guys on your offense and defense who are playing on D1 teams that are actually playing football. They're not sitting. They're actually playing. Got a chance to see Javion Hilson last night play. He played Missouri. He played yesterday. So it was wonderful to see those young men who you see and you call these games for them years ago, and then now they're all of a sudden they're starting on or they're playing on collegiate teams. So it's a good thing to see that.
Well, both these sides definitely have their fair share of players that will be playing on Saturdays and potentially Sundays within the next couple of years. For Rockledge, their main players, none other than cornerback DJ Scott, Damon Scott. Many offers around the country, big D1 offers. He's a long, lengthy cornerback, and If you're a college and you see a guy that can not only jump out the gym, but he's got long arms, then you're salivating.
Well, who's he committed to right now?
He is actually, I do not believe he is committed at this point. I think that he's still waiting to commit. He has multiple offers. So he has multiple offers. He's a track guy, able to do the long jump, committed to Florida State for long jump, but still awaiting for a football commitment. You know how these kids are nowadays.
Yeah, they want it all.
You can commit to one school and then be at the other the next.
Yeah, and I've definitely seen that on several occasions, and that's the world that we live in now, you know. But like you mentioned before, there's a lot of great talent, and some of these young men won't play D1, but they'll play D2, or they'll have an opportunity to play in other leagues as well. So it's a great thing to see, you know, and it gives them an opportunity to showcase their talents and display it all out on the field.
Well, I talked about the freshman phenoms that we have in this game a little bit off air. Terry, you and I a week ago, we saw, I'm going to go ahead and say he's the number one freshman in the country, Xavier Corbin, younger brother of now NFL running back for the Falcons, Jayshon Corbin. We saw him score 3 touchdowns. He had nearly 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. You're a freshman, and this is your first game. You can't make a bigger splash.
Yeah, he had one heck of a game. I don't know if he's the number one freshman in the country, but I'll tell you right now, he's definitely proven himself. You know, he has he has his brother who played in the NFL, and he played at Florida State. He played at a couple other teams as well, but. So I know it's in his pedigree, it's in his bloodline. So that's actually a great thing. And when I seen this young man play, most of the time freshmen will get extremely nervous. And if he was nervous last week, he had a funny way of showing it. And if that's nervousness for him, he need to be nervous every game. Because if you as a freshman and your coach tell you that I want you to go out there and play football, and you go out there and score 3 touchdowns, that speaks volume on what's next for you. And like we mentioned before, he's a freshman.
Yeah.
His only way to go is up from here.
That's a big-time splash for Xavier Corbin. But now, reversely on the other side, a couple freshman phenoms for the Rockledge Raiders, none other than Eli Mitchell, who really has shown potential all over the field. He can run, he can catch, he can play defense, he can do a little bit of everything. He's along the bloodline of the Mitchells. Jalen Mitchell, who was a standout at Rockledge, spent some time and played some Division I football. that kid's going to be special as well. And you look at Matt Ford, who is a long, lengthy wide receiver, and he's a freshman already at about 6'2", 6'3", with long arms.
Yeah.
If you're a freshman, you still got room to grow. That's scary for some teams that Rockledge is going to be playing, that you're going to see this kid for another 3 years.
Yeah, that's definitely scary. And like you mentioned before, these kids are growing. It seemed like an inch a day, you know. So it's crazy. I would hate to be their parents because you got to feed these young men. But it's great to see that they're developing it, and the coaches is getting them to develop their bodies. That's so you have to take care of your body, because football, we all know, is a contact sport. So we definitely have to make sure that these young men are taking care of their health, their body, the way they eat, the way they train. So these are actually good things to help them out with early, so that when they're getting along in their career, they could be even better prepared.
Well, once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia. We have a weather delay currently, lightning in the area, so we are on another delay for probably a good 14 to 15 minutes as we will try to resume and start this game here shortly. While we are waiting, we are going to go to a little commercial break, and we will be back in just a moment.
Get your business launched with Space Coast Daily through spacecoastdaily.com, Space Coast Daily's social media, in print with Space Coast Daily newspaper and the magazine, as well as email blasts and the mobile app, and also at Space Coast Daily events. You can reach new customers every day. Get launched with Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Call 321-323-4460 today. Space Coast Daily is Brevard's most trusted news. Through spacecoastdaily.com and Space Coast Daily's social media reach, hundreds of thousands of people stay informed every day. Through Space Coast Daily's unmatched digital reach with the Space Coast Daily's direct mail newspaper and Space Coast Daily the magazine in print, our loyal and engaged viewers enjoy free local news they can trust every day, and all at no charge thanks to our successful advertising clients. And also at our special events at Space Coast Daily Park in Vieira, where hundreds of thousands of people see our clients' advertisements. Call today to get your message seen on Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Get launched with Space Coast Daily. Call 321-323-4460 today.
Welcome back to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia here from Eau Gallie, as we have the Rockledge Raiders and Eau Gallie Commodores setting to take the field shortly. We have a lightning delay in the area, so we are going to be on a weather break for hopefully not too much longer, because as much as the fans and players want to play, Terry, I want to see this game get underway as myself.
Yeah, and I'm definitely ready for that. Either than that, I'm gonna strap up and go ahead and play it myself. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I got it in me for the quarterback play. Hopefully you can catch the ball still. Can you still got
Yeah, I was gonna
any
say
burners on you?
if you're gonna throw the ball, I'll set up for a screen. I don't have to run too far. I can just catch the ball.
Yeah.
People block for me, and I'll try to get as far downfield as I can. But we have a lightning delay once again, and it should be clearing up here soon. I believe that we'll be set to take the guys will be set to take the field here shortly. But a great game on our hands. I think that both of these teams really, really want this game. Over the past couple years, they've been kind of almost like a rival just because of them being in the same district.
Right.
If you look back to 10, 12 years ago, Eau Gallie was not a perennial team in the county. They were a team that was just another game on the schedule. And on the opposite side, Rockledge was competing with the Cocoa and competing in the postseason. Well, it's kind of flip-flopped a little bit. Eau Gallie is now a perennial team, a really great program led by head coach Chris Sands. Rockledge is still in a rebuilding area now under head coach John Holmes. And a season ago, it was a 40-0 blowout that Eau Gallie beat Rockledge. And I don't think the Rockledge players who were here last year have forgotten about that. And I don't think that they want to just let that slide, Terry.
Yeah, anytime you always take a mental note, very similar to what I tell you what Vero Beach did with Eau Gallie last year. So they may not have a lot of the players on their team that was here for that blowout, but it's being and they definitely have a new coach as well. But it's definitely being known to them or made known to them that hey, we lost to this team and we lost bad.
Yeah. Well, with brand new head coach John Holmes in there, he wasn't the coach on the sideline for that 40-0 beating, but he's on the sideline now, and he just took a heartbreaking loss a week ago as they led the Vera Hawks for about 3.5 quarters. And really just, I wouldn't say that they gave up the game as much as Vera took it, but Vera did not give up. And that's a rivalry. That's a backyard brawl that you never know who's going to win it. It's like a Florida State-Florida game, unless, it's a Florida team that's decimated and not as well or vice versa. But it's a game every year that you're like Rockledge and Vieira, okay, this can go either way. And this year was kind of the same question. I think Vieira came in, especially with confidence after that 52-20 win in the Kickoff Classic over Palm Bay that you and I saw, Terry. But
Yeah.
But Rockledge also came in with a lot of confidence. They had just beaten Heritage 37-34 and really went in there and led most of the game, and Vieira took it from them.
Yeah, it definitely did, and that goes to show you the strength, like we talked about before, in the county. Every team that I've seen have personally gotten better, and we haven't even broadcast any of the Titusville or the Astronaut games. We don't know how those teams are going to show up any given Friday. You can definitely have an 0-3 or 0-4 record, but when you go up and play against somebody like Cocoa or Gallie, people play up to the talent because they want to be the ones that dethrone the top dog. So I kind of liken it to when I covered in basketball. I covered the UCF Knights 2 years ago when Big Bad Kansas came into town.
Oh, yeah.
And UCF reminded Kansas that they're no longer in Kansas anymore, Dorothy. And they won that game, and they stormed the field because they played up to the talent. UCF didn't have a great season that year, but their Super Bowl or their championship was beating Kansas that day, that field, for the first time they've ever played Kansas, and they beat them.
Well, I have to say, it's been known that I'm a Gators fan, but I remember.
Don't say that too loud.
But I remember, I think it's been about 5-6 years now, probably 6 years now, that UCF faced Duke in the NCAA tournament for a chance to go to the Sweet 16.
I remember that.
And that star-studded Duke team with R.J. Barrett, Cam Reddish, and, of course, Zion Williamson ended up winning last second. As a fan of basketball, I appreciated how great that game was, but UCF got cheated.
Yeah,
They got cheated.
a lot of people are saying that. I watched that game, and I honestly thought that UCF was going to win that game. But, yeah, they definitely there was a lot of the powers that be didn't want that to happen. Not on that day, not that particular game.
Well, I'll tell you right now, for the ones who love doing brackets, if UCF would have won that, then that would have broke a lot of brackets. But as we are still waiting here, we'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Once again, we have a lightning delay here for the Eau Gallie area, and there's going to be a delay that hopefully they can remove soon, but it seems as if we're going to be waiting a little while. The weather, rain-wise, is pretty clear. It looks like we're going to have some really good condition for football, but if that lightning's in the area, Terry, we're not taking the field.
Yeah, and I actually poked my head out just to see. The sky kind of looks a little funky, so I don't know if it's the rain trying to supersede whatever it needs to be. I'm no meteorologist or anything, but it does look a little weird. It looks a little yellowish for right now, but hopefully that doesn't mean that the lightning delay is going to go any longer. But like we talked about before, there is precaution that they have to do to protect these young men and women, because we have the band here. Shout out to all the bands. And we definitely have the cheerleaders who are here cheering their teams.
Well, because we are not playing and it is past 7, Melbourne and Merritt Island should be live right now. Our guys, J.C. Meyerholtz and Zach, are on that game on the Space Coast Daily Facebook. That one is taking place currently right now, so if you are waiting for this game, go enjoy the Melbourne Merritt Island game for a little bit, and we'll be right back, hopefully starting this game real soon. So this is going to be a big-time game, and we are waiting for it to start. We'd like to thank some of the people that have tuned into this one. Joe Ocker says, "Go Rock." Kevin White says, Isaiah Nash, number 34, 6'3", 220, anchored down.
Oh, wow.
Okay. We got Michael A. DeJesus, "Go Rockledge" from North Carolina.
The Tar Heel State. I'm a Tar Heel. That's
okay. Kevin White also says, "Let's go, Brody. You got this." We saw Brody Grantland a week ago take some snaps after Joseph Allen went down. It looked like, that's a tough environment to get thrown into. You get thrown into a really hostile environment in Vero Beach, and you have to try to step in and be the guy. So like we talked a little bit about off air, he'll probably have some reps under his belt now with the starters and be ready for this game. So hopefully they're able to get some movement going through the passing game, and they're not really as one-dimensional as they were a week ago. And then, of course, my baby Jalen tuning in.
Okay.
Thank you for tuning in, my love. And it looks like we have a good crowd that's going to be wanting to watch this one. But as of right now, we are not going to be live in the game just yet. We have a lightning delay. So as we continue to wait, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. But we are going to go to a break, and we will be right back.
Get your business launched with Space Coast Daily through spacecoastdaily.com, Space Coast Daily's social media, in print with Space Coast Daily newspaper and the magazine, as well as email blasts and the mobile app, and also at Space Coast Daily events. You can reach new customers every day. Get launched with Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Call 321-323-4460 today.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia here from Eau Gallie. The Rockledge Raiders and the Eau Gallie Commodores are currently on a weather delay, and it has just now started raining. We're not sure how close or how far that lightning is from the field. We would like to get this game started real soon. We're going to be trying to get an update on the weather here very soon, but currently we are on a weather delay and we are unable to take the field based on lightning being in the area. Rain is not a problem, but lightning being in the area, we are unable to start this ball game. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. But if you are looking to watch some Friday Night Lights, tune into the Melbourne and Merritt Island game that is being shown right now on the Space Coast Daily Facebook and YouTube. J.C. Meyerholtz and Zach Clark over there. That will probably be a really good game to tune into while you wait for whether you're a Commodores or a Raiders fan to tune into this one. So we are currently still waiting. Terry, nobody likes to wait, but if there's lightning and this is the lightning capital of the world, you got no choice.
Yeah, you definitely have no choice, but it goes to show you how many people are loyal to these young men because they're still on. Even though we don't have any fee, we definitely want to thank everybody for still tuning in. Juan Rodriguez, he's on. He said Eau Gallie by 20. Wow. That's a heck of a predicament.
Okay.
And Kay Kiss, she's obviously a Eau Gallie fan. So like I said, we want to thank you. So go ahead and tune in and represent where you're from and what's your team, or if you got a player out here that's going to be playing on either team. Let us know because we'll definitely shout them out because these young men are laying all the line for us, and we definitely want to see and shout them out as well on a Friday night.
Yeah, this will probably be another 20 to 30 minute wait. I hope it's not, but with weather and rolling in the area, we have rain coming in now and thunder. Thunder means lightning, so we'll probably be on another wait here. So if you are wanting to watch this game and tune into this game, we will probably be on another wait. We'll keep as many updates rolling as we can. But if you're wanting to see some Friday night football, once again, tune in to Merritt Island hosting the Melbourne Bulldogs. J.C. Meyerholtz and Zach Clark on the call over there. And once again, thank you guys for tuning into this broadcast. We have the Eau Gallie Commodores hosting the Rockledge Raiders. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia here on the call. While we wait, we are going to go on to another brief break, and we will be right back.
Get your business launched with Space Coast Daily through spacecoastdaily.com, Space Coast Daily's social media, in print with Space Coast Daily newspaper and the magazine, as well as email blasts and the mobile app, and also at Space Coast Daily events. You can reach new customers every day. Get launched with Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Call 321-323-4460 today. Space Coast Daily is Brevard's most trusted news. Through spacecoastdaily.com and Space Coast Daily's social media reach, hundreds of thousands of people stay informed every day. Through Space Coast Daily's unmatched digital reach, with the Space Coast Daily's direct mail newspaper and Space Coast Daily, the magazine in print, our loyal and engaged viewers enjoy free local news they can trust every day, and all at no charge thanks to our successful advertising clients. And also at our special events at Space Coast Daily Park in Vieira, where hundreds of thousands of people see our clients' advertisements. Call today to get your message seen on Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Get launched with Space Coast Daily. Call 321-323-4460 today.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Friday Night Locker Room on Space Coast Daily. Terry Spain, Zane Garcia. We are still on a weather delay here at Eau Gallie, waiting for the kickoff for Rockledge and Eau Gallie. As we wait, it's going to probably be still a longer wait as rain and storm has come into the area. So we are going to go ahead and end this broadcast and be started up with another broadcast once the game is beginning. So once again, thank you everyone for tuning into this one. We will give updates about the weather and when the game is starting, and we'll be right back up once this game is going to start. Terry, we don't like any breaks, but with the weather the way it is, it's not safe to play football.
Yeah, it's definitely not safe to play football. Safety's first, but as you said again, Zane, we are definitely going to be coming back and giving you the top-notch commentating when this game definitely comes back to back into the fold. So we thank everybody for tuning in, and we thank the faithfuls. Even though the game is not on, there's a lot of people that still tune in. So that just goes to show how much you all love the game and how much you all love Space Coast Daily, and I guess you love hearing our voices as well. So that's a great thing. So we definitely appreciate that. But we will definitely be signing off temporarily.
Yes.
But we will be coming back on as soon as these players are out on the field.
Yeah, once we get any word that the game is going to be started, we will be right back on air broadcasting this one live from Eau Gallie. the Rockledge Raiders, the Eau Gallie Commodores on the Friday Night Locker Room with Space Coast Daily, Terry Spain, Zane Garcia. We will